one of my therapists who I worked with for a decade, who was so helpful to me earlier in my journey, he had this phrase that has really stuck with me. I love kind of the playfulness of it, because I asked him this question of like, well, how do I know like when or if like I should take a break from therapy? And one of the things he said to me was, he's like, well, when you start to feel like you have better things to do with your time, then come to therapy. And that's not meant to like, put down therapy in any way, but it harkens to this sense of internal desire. Like if we are starting to, and so I talk with clients about this, right? It's like if you are starting to kind of, I mean, especially if you're starting to resent going to therapy, like, oh my gosh, like we want to catch this long before that, right? Yeah, it's like we really want to pay attention to how are we feeling as we approach our therapy sessions. Now, this is complicated, right? Because, a lot of times in therapy, we're working on difficult trauma. And so there is going to be ambivalence there, right? There can be outright like dread because the work is difficult. Even as we have lots of support, even as we're helping things heal, it's still, there can be an element of like, oh, I don't want to have to do more hard work. So that's a different kind of quality, right? Than like a sense of like, I'm feeling really good. I'm not sure why I'm going. I'm not sure what I'm doing with it, right? Which is a great time to have a conversation with your therapist. So again, coming back to this question, how do I know if it's time to pause? Again, the one, kind of whimsical, somewhat snarky, like, well, do you have better things to do? Are you finding that like you really wish you could use that time in other ways? Well, that might be your inside saying, you know what, I feel like I've got enough for now. I want to go out and, live the adventure of my life a little bit more. I want to use that time, that hour and, hour plus, because there's travel time, or unless you're doing it, online, for other things. And so then, explore that, see what it feels like to try that on. Are there parts that get a little scared? How, can you work with those and reassure them that you're okay, and reassure them that you still can, reach out for a session if you need to, or you can resume regular therapy if you need to, and kind of, really listen to like, yeah, what do I need to do to honor that impulse? Like, what does that look like for me?